podcast where we put you on the map. This is Ron Costa broadcasting live in Las Vegas in the Mappable USA studios. And we always talk about crowdfunding on the Mappable USA podcast. A lot of it gets involved in real estate crowdfunding. And for that reason, we've been talking about a lot of these opportunity zones, what they are, and how people can benefit from them. And because that's the topic of the day, we have to bring in Vicki Hachmala from the QOZ Marketplace. Vicki, how you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, Ron. We're here in Las Vegas, where we keep the sunshine over us and the snow in the mountain.
Yep, even when it's cold, it's warm in Vegas. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of news in opportunity zones, and one of the things that we've done on the podcast already is we've brought on a lot of people who are experts in these fields, from lawyers and from people who are ground up with the government. We're kind of hitting opportunity zones on a number of different levels, and that's what's needed out there, because there's so much confusion still in this topic. I'm sure you see the confusion out there as well, right, when you talk to people?
Oh, yeah. We've talked to a variety of people, and the opportunity zone opportunity is fascinating because everybody wins on all sides of the table. And so we want to get a broad spectrum of information out to our listeners, and that includes having a broad spectrum of guests. Today we have Sheldon Mudd, who's going to tell us something about rural opportunity zones, which is a fascinating subject to me.
Welcome, Sheldon. Hey, welcome to the show.
Good day, folks. It's great to be here.
Now, Sheldon, you are the executive director for the Northern Nevada Regional Development Authority. Is that correct?
That is correct. We're out here in Northeastern Nevada.
Oh, okay. That's really nice. And you guys have all four seasons there, don't you?
We certainly do, and winter is upon us at the moment, but we love it. It's nice to get all four seasons, and I think we enjoy them all well. We're outdoorsmen out here in rural Nevada, and we work hard and we play hard.
Excellent. And why don't you tell our audience what you guys do in the authority? Like, what's your major goals, and how does that whole thing work, and what's your role in that entity?
You bet. So our Regional Development Authority is made up of 5 counties out here in northeastern Nevada. So from west to east, it's Humboldt County, Lander County, Eureka County, Elko County, and White Pine County. And essentially our primary objective here at the Northeastern Nevada Regional Development Authority is to provide economic sustainability in our region. And obviously what that includes is recruiting companies, developing existing business that's already here, diversifying the economy as a means to ensure that we do have sustainability here in our local economy. And so that's really, when you boil everything down, that's what it comes to, is economic vibrance out here in northeastern Nevada.
Now, when you guys heard of the whole Opportunity Zones program, then that must have been music to your ears, because that seems to be a program that addresses exactly what the problem is that you guys are trying to fix, right?
That's absolutely right. So as with so many other rural areas in the United States, we rely heavily on a single industry for the most part, and those industries are based around non-renewable resources, and so at some point those resources run out, and as a result, in order to hedge against fluctuations in those markets and the availability of the resource, it's important that we diversify. And so out here in northeastern Nevada, we're primarily a mining, where we are a world leader in the mining world, and we anticipate we will continue to be a world leader in gold production and silver production for at least another century. But at some point, that's going to have to change, and so we also rely heavily on agriculture and so forth. So when these opportunity zones came about and we learned about them, it was just another option for us out here in northeastern Nevada, another tool that would allow us to get investment into this area to do exactly what I mentioned, to diversify and hedge against market fluctuations in our dominant economic industry.
Well, Sheldon, what kind of projects are you looking for? What type of project would somebody want to invest in your part of the state?
So overall, I mean, we are, like so many rural areas probably in Nevada and throughout the country, is we have a lot of secluded areas and we have a lot of space, a lot of land. And so as a result, our primary targets at the moment tend to be either types of alternative agriculture, for example, some indoor aquaponics, hydroponics type agricultural facilities. Aerospace and defense is a big one because it's easy to get off the beaten path out here in rural Nevada. And for those folks who are seeking seclusion for security reasons or so forth, it's a perfect option. So we really try to target those types of industries. Furthermore, what a lot of people don't realize, we have some of the darkest skies out here in Nevada, in the continental U.S. If you look on the dark sky websites online, you'll see that we have some of the darkest skies. So as a result, we would love to see, space exploration type companies would be great. Those who are
with the telescopes and exploring space from the ground.
Exactly. Any kind of research and development entities that are involved with space exploration, I mean, that would be great. It would be a great option because of, like I say, the secluded areas, the dark skies, and so forth. So those are just a couple right off the bat that we would say would be very unique to the area, but we think that they would benefit greatly as a result of being here.
You mentioned alternative agriculture. Would that include alternative energy projects, wind and solar and what have you?
Absolutely. So we have recently gained a lot of interest from the renewable energy sector. There are several companies currently looking at options out here in northeastern Nevada for solar and wind. We already have a few projects. White Pine County actually has a nice wind farm out there. Like I say, we're looking at some other entities who are considering the area because we do get a lot of sunlight. We do have a steady breeze out here for the most part. And so those are great options. And then to boot, the state of Nevada offers some great incentives for those types of companies. And so they're just really some great options. And then what a lot of folks don't realize out here in northeastern Nevada is our geothermal resources are really exploding. We're starting to realize just how many opportunities exist out there as the University of Nevada, Reno, Dr. James Faulds, there with the geology department, the Nevada Bureau of Mines and Geology is mapping a lot of the geothermal resources throughout the state. And we're finding a lot of pockets of geothermal activity out here in northeastern Nevada. So that's starting to cause a little bit of, it's allowing folks to stir a little bit and consider what type of opportunities exist, which those geothermal resources we're starting to realize will complement some alternative agriculture industries as well, because that warm water provides some opportunity for growing and producing in areas we'd never thought of before.
This is why I think rural opportunity zones are so fascinating, because the projects involved are completely different from a project that you would do in an urban area. It's just totally different. And as you say, one thing leads to another and new opportunities arise.
I think this is the first podcast where we've had opportunity zones and space exploration in the same podcast.
See how exciting that is?
Yeah, no, it really is. And you know, and as Vicki alluded to at the top of the show, Sheldon, you know, when people talk about these opportunity zones, most of the time they are talking about the you know, the big cities and that kind of thing. And to be able to sell your deal to a like a fund, let's say, or people, investors who are interested in doing something in a rural community, that must be kind of a tough sell, only because it's so unfamiliar with them. I mean, how do you get that message across?
Well, you're absolutely right. We have some challenges when it comes to recruitment and marketing ourselves, primarily because so many of these companies are born out of large urban areas, the Silicon Valley and so forth. And so a lot of these entrepreneurs or business leaders are just unfamiliar with what rural areas are like. And then when they get out here, there are some challenges as well, because there are times when the infrastructure is not in place like it needs to be, and there's not the variety that they're used to in the large cities. And so so those are things we have to overcome. We do our best to try to have infrastructure and so forth in place upon their arrival. But one of the great things that these folks usually don't realize is that our cities and our counties usually work quite well with these companies in order to accommodate whatever they need, especially if it's a business or an industry that we're targeting. And what I mean by that is permitting times are significantly reduced compared to what they're used to in the urban areas. They get one-on-one exposure to city and county officials that they need to talk to in order to make things happen. Out in rural Nevada, you really work with and deal with people who make things happen. There's not a lot of layers of bureaucracy here that what they're used to. And so even though we have some of those obstacles that they're not going to experience maybe in some of the urban areas, they're easily mitigated for the most part. They're usually pretty easy to get around. And what we find is that those individuals those companies who are working in Northeastern Nevada or actually decide to invest in our region, find it's usually the process is a lot easier than what they're used to in other places. So it's really when we're marketing ourselves out here, it's just trying to explain that to these folks, let them realize really just what we have out here. It is a different lifestyle. There's no two ways about it. We like the way it is out here, but convincing them and allowing them to experience that for themselves, to see the process, to see it move forward quickly, to be able to work with people who can make decisions really on the spot, and then just kind of feel the what I call kind of old-fashioned America lifestyle and culture. Most of the time, people are either intrigued by it or they really appreciate it. So, like I say, there are challenges that we have here compared to our urban counterparts, but usually it's nothing that we can't get around.
No, you just made a great point, because I'll tell you, try doing a zoning change in like downtown Las Vegas or something around here. It would take forever. And you know, a lot of these crowdfunding projects too, these guys, these are developers, they have these great plans. And you're right. I mean, it could be months or even years just in red tape and paperwork. And you know, if you as an investor, you can't really anticipate, well, I mean, I guess you can anticipate it, but what can you do about it? It's like, well, you know, when it's ready, when it's ready. So That is a huge point that you just made. I really am impressed with that. That's a great point.
Well, and real quick, I'll highlight that even to an extent more. All of our counties are easy to work with, but if a investor came to me today and say they wanted to build a building in Eureka County, we could have them breaking ground tomorrow. I mean, that's
great. Yeah.
That's just wow. I can't even conceive of that quickness.
Yeah, you can't do that in every county here.
You certainly can't do it in Clark County.
but you can in Eureka County. So that's just a quick, for somebody who really wants to move fast, has the capital in place, and wants to get going today, there's places in northeastern Nevada we can do that.
Okay, well, then let's look at this from another perspective now, from the money perspective. People invest in opportunity zone funds, which do the actual investing into the project and development of the real estate or whatever, what have you. Are you contacting these funds somehow, or what's your marketing plan to get in front of these guys who are these fund managers who can make these investments into your area and get all this stuff going?
You bet. So we've been in contact with some fund managers, just primarily to let them know that we do have an opportunity zone out here, that it exists, and that there are a lot of opportunities, to capitalize on that here. Excuse me. We have also got in contact with some potential projects, and tried to essentially link those two up. Those two entities up together. Some projects that need funding, along with some fund managers. We're still working through some of those. We haven't had any deals made yet, since the advent of the opportunity zone. But that's essentially, that's what we're doing. Is we're talking to a lot of folks within the region who have ideas, who have projects, business plans in place, who simply just need funding, and then of course some of these fund managers as well, and really just trying to link those up to make some of these things happen. So really we're in our region thus far, we're just trying to orchestrate some of these potential deals in order to make them happen, and then at least we'll have a couple success stories to go along with our marketing.
Does the state offer any kind of incentives? We know that Opportunity Zone, the incentive is deferment on capital gains tax. Does the state of Nevada or any of the individual counties offer any additional tax incentives or development incentives that would bring somebody into a project easier?
Yeah, you bet. So the state of Nevada, through the Governor's Office of Economic Development, offer multiple incentives for qualified companies. So you're looking at tax abatements on property, potential tax abatements on equipment as well. And so for a company, looking just for that extra savings in order to pull the trigger on a project, state of Nevada is pretty good about working with them to make that happen. In addition, out here in rural Nevada, as mentioned, because our layers of government are so shallow compared to some of our urban counterparts, some of the cities and counties have also offered various incentives to go along or to accompany the state incentive. So if a company qualifies and they're looking at, say, some county property, there's potential for reduction in cost on that property. If a company were to come in and, say, create a multitude of jobs, make a significant capital investment, they could potentially get land and property for nothing. The counties would offset those costs in order to attract those companies. In addition, cities perhaps could offset the cost of hookups to water, to sewer, to power. So depending on where you're at within our region, you have to understand our region encompasses 45,000 square miles.
Oh, my.
So it depends on where you're at within that region, what incentives exist. But without a doubt is we definitely are very competitive in our incentive packages for potential companies. And so, we certainly want to make it easy for the right company to come into Northeastern Nevada.
Excellent. Yeah. Do you have or do you want to have projects that involve infrastructure like railroad or roads or that kind of thing? Cell towers?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking
not
for
really
projects.
Feasible.
Yeah, well, we're always looking for projects that kind of help us complement or justify new infrastructure throughout the region. We're really fortunate in that we have Interstate 80 crosses the entirety of our region, which most people listening to this might be aware that interstate crosses the entire country. It's a logistical blessing for the region. In addition, the Union Pacific Railroad runs right alongside that as well. So what we have several rail ports within our region where naturally they're just a great option, great property for potential business that need logistical options that include rail or quick access to a freeway or quick access to airports, which we have all throughout the region. But those projects that are coming in and maybe they want to be in a location that's offset from or apart or away from our existing rail ports or infrastructure, and maybe they need new rail spurs and so on and so forth. We work to make that happen. As a matter of fact, we're currently working with a company who's in that boat. They want to be in an area that they're just the rail spurs don't exist right now, but by working with them, we're looking at some grants and so forth to assist them in constructing a rail spur, which will not only help them, but of course will help more companies down the line as there's land options all around that area, and so it'll act as a catalyst for hopefully for future development. So anytime we see projects like that not only help the company or the investor, in the intermediate, but anytime it's going to really develop and enhance our infrastructure for the future, we do what we can, and most of the time, our cities and our counties jump on and, of course, do what they can to help facilitate that, to help make it happen.
Is there a opportunity zone project right now in your rural community that you're particularly working on that you kind of want to talk about that gives an example of an investable opportunity zone project?
Well, I mean, currently we do have a project that we're really trying to get off the ground. And so what it is, and I'm limited to what I can say about it, but we would definitely love somebody to get a hold of us. But we have believe it or not, a shrimp producer.
A shrimp producer, as in seafood?
As in seafood.
Oh my gosh.
Shrimp. So what it boils down to is the market for shrimp in this area is there's a huge demand. We have you folks down in Vegas eat a lot of shrimp. The visitors eat a lot of shrimp on those buffets.
Yeah, shrimp cocktails are a hot thing.
You bet. Out in West Wendover, we have a lot of gaming and tourism out there. They eat a lot of shrimp. The Salt Lake Valley, the Magic Valley in southern Idaho, the Treasure Valley up near Boise, and then, of course, the Reno market. And so we have a company who would like to essentially grow and produce shrimp indoors. They have a very interesting business plan. They've got some of the world's leading experts in shrimp and hydroponics and geothermal energy and so forth involved. And essentially what they want to use is some of the geothermal resources to essentially heat that water in the process to grow the shrimp, to recycle the bio-waste that's produced there, to use that for other agricultural pursuits within the region. And, I mean, they've got this great plan in place, and, they're just looking for a little funding to kind of help them, some final funding to help them pull the trigger on this project. But right now they're looking at our opportunity zone out here in northeastern Nevada, which encompasses 4,000 acres. 4,000 square miles. Our opportunity zone is massive, and so they found an area out there in that opportunity zone that is right along the rail. It's right along Interstate 80. It's just down the road from West Wendover, that they think would be a great location for this plant that would be entirely unique to Nevada, that would meet an enormous demand here, that would be very clean and very green. And so some of these gentlemen that are heading it up are organic farmers up in Montana, have had organic farms up there, and so they really have this unique idea and a great plan in place. They're just trying to get some final funding, and so if we can find the right investor, this would be a tremendous project out there, and we think that it would complement other industry that could exist in the area, and that it would be a catalyst for further development. So we're really excited and would really like to put something together for these guys, and we think it would be a tremendously unique but beneficial project to the area.
I didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize you had gaming out there in West Wendover. It's a gaming town?
Oh, without a doubt, it is. It is. It's right on the border of Utah, and so we get a lot. West Wendover gets a lot of traffic from the east, and they have great shows, world-class performers there in Wendover. A lot of people just aren't aware that West Wendover. They have some great gaming options and resorts out there, and it's kind of a little Las Vegas out there. So it's a really neat little town. It's a very historic little town, and but it's a neat place to be. It's a fun place to visit.
Maybe like Las Vegas was years ago, right? This is like the old Vegas in a new town.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that I try to explain to people is that West Wendover it's really an old town. It's been there for a long time. It was crucial in the war effort in World War II. The Enola Gay, actually, the squadron there trained outside of West Wendover at Wendover Field on the Utah side. It has a tremendous history. But what's really unique about West Wendover now is they have a city officials who are really trying to develop a community. So although the town has been there for a long time, it's a relatively new community that they're building up. They're building a brand new Main Street. They've never had a Main Street. They're building one from scratch. It's going to be new. It's going to be unique. They've got other projects in place, housing projects, and just development projects all around town. But what I like to tell people is really when you take a snapshot of West Wendover today, it looks a lot like the Las Vegas Valley did in the 1950s and 60s. This small gaming community kind of out in the middle of the salt flats that, some people are just simply unaware of. But I mean, look at where Las Vegas is today, and I can imagine that West Wendover could look a lot like that in the future. And so for investors who are looking for, a unique opportunity to get in on the ground floor, hey, West Wendover, like I say, looks a lot like Las Vegas did a long time ago. So this might be a great opportunity.
Yeah, how far of a drive is it from West Wendover to, let's say, Reno?
So you're looking at roughly 6 or 7 hours. So, I mean, It is completely on the other side of the state. It's about the same amount of time. I would say about 8 hours actually would be a safer bet. 8 hours. It's probably about another 8 hours to get down to Las Vegas from West Wendover. It's just a couple hours into Salt Lake from West Wendover, about 4 or 5 hours up into the Magic Valley in southern Idaho. So it's really centrally located. It's a great place to be. It's a lot of people say, well, it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's kind of in the middle of everywhere. So no matter where you're going, you're going to go through West Wendover. And so we were just thrilled when the governor nominated West Wendover and the surrounding area, like I say, 4,000 square miles, as an opportunity zone, because that's a lot of opportunity. And as a matter of fact, it's probably, I'm guessing it's larger than all other 60 opportunity zones in Nevada. So, like I say, there's a lot of options out there, and we would certainly love to accommodate anybody looking to invest in that area.
Yeah, we got to find an airport developer for you guys, and you're all set. Build an airport there, right? And then you start really exploding.
actually on the Utah side. So the Utah line goes right through Wendover. There's West Wendover and Wendover.
Oh, wow.
And you can walk. You can walk from one side to the other, and of course all the casinos are on the Nevada side, so you know exactly where the line is if you can't see it. But on the Utah side is Wendover Field, historic Wendover Field, and that's where the Enola Gay trained. Great airport, lots of services.
Wow.
We're working on extending the city of West Wendover is working with the United States Air Force and the Bureau of Land Management to secure, I believe it's over 2,500 acres that can be used for industrial development, and it will be adjacent to that airport. So if folks are looking for air service in and out, this is what some of our shrimp guys, essentially they want to deliver live shrimp to Las Vegas, and they would be flying out of that Wendover airport. So,
and is that part of the opportunity zone?
So the airport itself lies outside of the opportunity zone, but it's adjacent to it because you're within I think 5 miles of the opportunity zone. So you're not. I mean, you're not very far away.
Wow. Okay.
Even if not the opportunity zone, there's still the state incentives, and perhaps Utah has state incentives as well.
They very well could, and naturally we want our investors and our projects to be on the Nevada side.
Well, of course.
But what it'll boil down to is once that development property is secured from the federal government, a company will essentially have an opportunity probably to be adjacent to that airport if they so choose, and have an access road that leads right to it. So we will pretty much market that as airport access, immediate airport access, because it's just right there, and it's great. And the runways are really long. I mean, you can imagine as bombers train there, so they had to have runway access for bombers, and I think I want to say both of them are well over a mile. I think they have a TSA capabilities there. They had the TSA is actually in place. So great options there that nobody's aware of.
Well, Sheldon, I'll tell you what. I think with what people who are listening to this podcast right now have to realize that there are some really interesting developments and opportunities in these rural zones that you guys are working on. If there is a fund manager or an investor or whoever listening to this podcast right now, they want to get in touch with you, how would they do that? Do you have a website or email or phone, or what's the best way to get on your schedule? You
bet. So you can just simply give us a call. We're at area code 775-738-2100. That's 775-738-2100. We encourage you to visit our website, which is just simply nnrda.com. That's nnrda.com. We're getting ready to roll out a new website. So if they wait about a week or two and check and jump on, they'll see our brand new website, which is being updated with a lot of new stats and information and easy access info. They can simply give me a call. I'm at Mudd, so SMUDD at nnrda.com. We'd love to hear from you and love to hear from these folks. And gosh, if we can put something together, we'd certainly like to do it. Like we say, there's 4,000 square miles of opportunity out there, and we would love to help folks take advantage of it.
I would love to see this place myself. Vicki, we should go up there, and maybe Sheldon could take us out to a shrimp dinner.
Oh, you bet. You bet. It sounds beautiful out there.
Well, Vicki, do you have any closing remarks or anything you want to ask Sheldon before we sign off?
This is what makes Opportunity Zone so fascinating, the fact that you can do just about anything your mind can think of. There's a place to put it, and we want it right here in Nevada.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheldon, listen, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on with these insights. I think you really opened some eyes today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. We appreciate the opportunity to let everybody know what exists out here in rural Nevada.
It sounds great.
And Vicki will market their project on QOZmarketplace.com, which is an informational site for opportunity zones that you're pretty much spearheading, right? We'll put that information up there.
Absolutely.
Great. And then folks out there, you're listening to the Mappable USA podcast. We're at mappableusa.com. Go check out the website. Scroll down on the homepage. You'll see all our syndication sources. Click the one you like best and subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. And, of course, if you want to be a guest today like Sheldon, there's a guest tab on that website. Fill it out. We'll see about getting you on the show. If you have any questions, there's a place to ask a question. We'll look into it. If you have any questions regarding crowdfunding, we're the entity to go to, and we'll get it answered by an industry professional. So thanks again for listening. This is Ron Costa, USA, Mappable USA podcast. We'll see you next week for another show. Have a great week, everyone.